The rain fell softly over the trees, making everything shine like silver. In the middle of the forest, a small cabin stood quietly under tall green pines. It was peaceful, calm, and far from the busy world. A girl named Minna, only 16 at the time, lived there with her uncle. Minna liked quiet things. She enjoyed reading old books, fixing little machines, and walking alone through the woods. That day, she had gone out to gather some wild herbs and mushrooms. Her coat was wet, and her boots made soft sounds in the mud as she walked back to the cabin. Then she heard something strange. It wasn't the sound of wind or birds. It was like a soft cry, high-pitched, almost like a baby animal in pain. She stopped walking and listened again. The sound came from behind a tree not far from the path. Carefully, Minna walked toward the sound. She pushed aside some branches and looked down, and what she saw made her freeze. There, lying on the ground, was a small creature she had never seen before. It looked like a cub, maybe the size of a puppy, but it didn't look like any animal. From earth, it had thick silver fur, glowing blue eyes, and strange ridges along its head and shoulders. One of its legs was twisted, and there was blood on the ground, bright purple blood. Minna gasped and stepped back. The creature looked up at her, eyes wide with fear, but it didn't try to run. It just lay there, breathing hard, making soft whimpering sounds. Something in Minna's heart pulled her forward. "I won't hurt you," she whispered. Kneeling down slowly, the creature blinked at her. She reached out a hand. At first, it flinched, but then it let her touch its soft fur. Its body was shaking from cold and pain. Minna knew she couldn't leave it there. She looked around and saw no signs of other animals. Whatever this was, it was alone and badly hurt. She gently wrapped the creature in her coat and picked it up. It was lighter than she expected. It made a weak sound, but didn't fight. When she reached the cabin, her uncle was away in town, as usual on Fridays. Minna set the creature down on a warm blanket near the fireplace and cleaned its wounds using warm water. She didn't know much about alien biology, but she treated the injury like a broken leg. She used sticks and cloth to make a small splint. As she worked, the creature watched her with those bright, intelligent eyes. It didn't growl or hiss. It stayed calm, like it knew she was helping. Later, as the rain grew heavier outside, Minna sat near the fire and opened a cup of instant ramen. She had no special food to give the creature, so she broke the noodles into small pieces and placed them in a shallow bowl. The cub sniffed them, then slowly began to eat. It was a quiet moment. Fire crackled, rain tapped on the windows, and in a small cabin deep in the woods, a human girl fed an injured alien cub ramen. The next day, Minna woke up and found the creature still resting by the fire. It was sleeping soundly, curled into a ball like a kitten. For 3 days, she took care of it. She talked to it, told it stories, even gave it a name in her mind, Luma. She didn't know if it was a boy or girl or something else, but it didn't matter. Luma was gentle, quiet, and curious when it was strong enough to stand. It followed her around the cabin. It liked to sit by the window and look at the sky. Minna didn't tell anyone, not even her uncle. She didn't want Luma to be taken away. She knew if anyone found out, scientists would come. They'd lock it up, study it. That felt wrong. On the 4th night, something changed. Minna was asleep when a strange light filled the room. A soft humming sound came from outside. She jumped up, heart racing, and looked through the window. Above the trees, a silent ship hovered. It wasn't large, but it looked sleek, smooth, and glowing with blue light. A beam of light shone down into the forest. Luma stood at the door, looking back at her. "You're leaving, aren't you?" Minna asked softly. The cub walked up to her. It looked into her eyes and made a sound like a soft purr and a hum together. It touched her hand with its small paw, warm and gentle. Then it turned and walked out into the rain. Minna ran to the doorway and watched. The beam of light touched Luma's body, and it slowly floated up into the air. For a moment, it looked down at her again. Its glowing eyes locked onto hers, and then, in a flash of light, it was gone. The next morning, the forest felt quieter than ever. No one believed her when she tried to talk about it weeks later. They smiled, shook their heads, and said she probably had a strange dream. But Minna remembered every detail: the fur, the eyes, the ramen, the rain, and most of all, the way Luma had looked at her before leaving. She never forgot. Years passed. Minna grew up. She moved to a colony near Saturn, worked as a pilot, and traveled from station to station. Life was normal, sometimes hard, sometimes boring, but she never stopped thinking about that night. She always kept a small photo on her ship's dashboard, a sketch she made of Luma, eating ramen by the fire. Little did she know, far beyond Earth, in a galaxy filled with stars and wars and empires, the cub she saved was no longer small, and she was coming back. 20 years had passed since the rainy night when Minna fed an injured Cub Ramen in the forest. Now, Minna was a grown woman living far from Earth. She worked as a cargo pilot on the edge of human space, flying between stations and small colonies in her old but trusted ship, the Lantern. It wasn't fancy, but it was fast, and more importantly, it was hers. Minna liked the quiet life in space. She had no family left, no big dreams, just the stars and the comfort of the ship's hum. But even now, she still remembered that strange cub with silver fur and glowing blue eyes. She had drawn it in her notebook 100 times, each time trying to get the eyes just right. She still kept a cup of instant ramen in her ship's cupboard, though she rarely ate it. It was just a memory. One evening, as she flew supplies to a small mining station near Jupiter's third moon, her ship picked up a strange signal. Beep, 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 unknown transmission. The ship's AI said. Minna frowned and leaned forward. From where? Unknown source. Direction: Outer Sector 9. Message repeating. Encrypted. Minna didn't usually care about strange signals. Space was full of junk transmissions and old probes. But something about the rhythm of the beeps made her feel strange, like it was meant for her. She pressed a few buttons, saving the signal, then continued her route. Still, she couldn't stop thinking about it. That night, docked at the station, she had a dream. She was standing in the forest again. The rain was falling, the fire was warm, and beside her sat the silver-furred cub, eating noodles. It looked at her and said, in a clear, calm voice, "I'm coming." Minna woke up with a start, her heart racing. Far across the galaxy, on a world humans had never seen, a massive city floated above the clouds. Towers of crystal and metal rose into the sky. Ships moved in perfect lines. Alien species from many worlds walked the glowing streets. At the center of this wonder stood the High Palace of Veloon, home of the most powerful being in the known galaxy. Inside a quiet hall made of gold and blue stone, a tall figure stood before a great star map. She wore a long robe of shining silver. Her eyes glowed softly, like deep blue fire. Round her stood silent guard stall, armored and loyal. This was Empress Thera, ruler of the Veloon Empire. She was once known by another name, one only she remembered: Luma, the small, injured cub who had once been saved by a girl on a distant world. Thera had grown strong. She had survived battles, learned from wise teachers, and taken her place as empress after her parents were lost in war. Many called her fair. Some called her dangerous, but no one questioned her power. Yet, she never forgot. Every year, on the same date, she sat alone and watched a memory recorded long ago by the tech inside her body, the image of a young girl feeding her warm noodles by the fire. Thera had searched the stars for her. It took years to find Earth, then more time to scan its history, maps, and records. She found images of people from the village near the forest. Then, finally, she found Mina's name. Now, she had located Mina's ship. She is still alive. Thera asked softly. Yes, Empress, her advisor replied. She flies cargo near the human colonies. We tracked her signal near Sector 9. Thera nodded slowly. Prepare my ship, she said. We leave tonight, back on Mina's side of space. Things were normal for a few days. She delivered parts to a repair station, helped a farmer fix his broken drone, and even watched a silly space comedy on her tablet. Life went on. Then, everything changed. It started with a shadow. Her ship was docked at a floating station above a quiet moon when the entire station shook. Lights flickered. The control tower shouted alerts. Something massive had entered the sector without. Warning. Minna ran to the window. Outside, floating in space like a silent mountain, was the largest alien ship she had ever seen. It wasn't like the rough cargo ships or bulky military cruisers she knew. It was smooth, shaped like a wing, with soft blue lights running across its surface, elegant and terrifying. The station's intercom crackled. Unknown vessel, you are entering restricted airspace. Identify yourselves. No answer came. Then a single message was sent, in perfect English. We are here for Minna. Minna froze. What? She whispered. Within minutes, station guards surrounded her. They asked for you. One said nervously. They knew your name. No one else. Just you. Minna's heart pounded. Her mind raced. Who were they? Why her? A small ship separated from the giant vessel and moved toward the station. It docked without force, calmly, like a bird landing on a branch. The doors opened. Out stepped a figure unlike any Minna had ever seen. She was tall and graceful, dressed in a silver robe that shimmered like stars. Her face was calm, strong, and beautiful, but it was the eyes, those glowing blue eyes, that stopped Minna in her tracks. The woman walked forward slowly, the guard stepping aside without question. She stood before Minna and removed her hood. I've found you, she said. Minna blinked. Do I know you? The woman smiled, soft and deep. Once, long ago, in the forest. You fed me ramen. Minna's eyes widened. She couldn't speak. Her knees felt weak. The silver fur, the eyes, the shape of the face, older now, but familiar. Luma, she whispered. My name is Thera now, the woman said. But yes, it was me. The room was silent. I owe you my life, Thera said. I came to honor the promise. Minna stared at her, still in shock. The others around her were speechless. Some guards bowed. Others looked confused. What promise? Minna asked softly. Thera looked at her gently. You said, come back when. You're strong, she replied. I have come back, and I am very strong now. The docking bay of the station was silent. Everyone stared as the tall, silver-robed woman stood in front of Minna. The glow of her blue eyes cast soft light on the cold metal floor. I owe you my life, the woman said again. Her voice was calm, but powerful, and I have not forgotten. Minna didn't know what to say. Her mind was spinning. The girl who once fed an injured Cub Ramen in a small forest cabin was now standing face to face with someone who had crossed stars just to find her. Luma? She asked again, still unsure. The woman smiled gently. You call me that. My real name is Thera. I am Empress of Velu now, ruler of over 30 star systems. Minna took a step back. Empress? Thera nodded. I came to collect on the promise. Minna looked around. The guards didn't know what to do. The workers froze. Even the station manager hid behind a wall. The moment was strange, too big for the small human outpost. I was just a kid, Minna said, her voice shaking. I didn't mean anything. I just helped because you were hurt. Thera's expression softened. That is what makes your kindness so rare. You gave expecting nothing. You fed me, protected me, and spoke to me like a friend. I never forgot. She looked around the station with quiet interest. You have grown, Minna. But this is not where you belong anymore. I want you to come with me. Minna's eyes widened. Come with you, to where? Thera raised a hand. Behind her, the view screen showed her grand ship waiting in orbit, glowing in the stars. To Veloon, Thera said, my world, my court, I want you to see what your kindness helped build. Minna stared. Why now? After all these years? Thera stepped closer. Because the stars move in cycles. Because I have waited, watched, and prepared. Now, the time is right. I want to honor you not just in words, but in front of all the galaxy. Minna looked down. But I'm just a cargo pilot. Thera tilted her head. No, you are the reason I'm alive, and in my people's law, A life debt is sacred. The station agreed to let Minna go, but many were uneasy. They whispered as Thera's guards walked through the halls. Some feared the alien power, others were curious. Inside Mina's small ship cabin, she sat on her bed with her bag half packed. She held her old notebook in her hands. It had drawings of the Cub's small, soft, innocent dot. Now that same being ruled. An empire dot. There was a knock. Thera stepped inside, quiet and respectful. I didn't want to scare you, Thera said gently. You didn't, Minna replied. I'm just confused. My life is simple. I fly, I deliver, I sleep. This, it feels too big. Thera sat across from her. It feels big because it is. But don't be afraid. I won't force you. I only asked. Double quotes. Minna thought for a long time. Then she said quietly, I always wondered what happened to you. After that night, I thought I dreamed it. Thera smiled. No dream. Your kindness saved more than me. It saved my people. When I returned, I brought back what I had learned. Compassion, mercy. These were not strong ideas in our old court, but I made them strong. She placed something on the table, a small glass orb. Inside it, a floating image appeared. Thera, younger, smaller, standing in front of alien elders. Her voice echoed, kindness has power greater than weapons. They laughed at me then, Thera said. Now they follow me. Minna looked at her carefully. You're different now. Yes, Thera said. But deep inside, I'm still that cub who ate your ramen. Minna gave a small smile. I can't believe that mattered so much. It changed everything. Thera said. The next morning, Minna stepped aboard Thera's ship. It was like nothing she had ever seen. The floors were smooth like glass. The walls glowed softly with blue light. Creatures from other worlds walked with silent discipline. A soft humming filled the air, peaceful and steady. Guards bowed as Thera passed. Everyone stared at Minna, but not with anger. They were curious. Who was this human walking beside their empress? Minna felt out of place. She was used to grease, rust, and old machines. This was to clean, to perfect. Thera noticed. You'll get used to it, she said kindly. They entered a room filled with floating stars. A map of the galaxy rotated in the air. This is my council room, Thera said. We plan wars here. We plan peace, too. Minna turned slowly, looking at stars she had never seen. This one, Thera said, pointing to a glowing dot, is Earth. Minna walked closer. So small, she whispered. Thera nodded. But important, because that's where I found hope. Minna looked up at her. Why me, Thera? You could have forgotten. Why remember one little act? Thera stepped close, her voice firm but gentle. Because when I was nothing, wounded, scared, Alonu treated me like someone. You asked nothing. You gave warmth, food, and care. It taught me what power truly is. Minna was quiet. You changed me, Thera said. And I want you to change others. Minna's eyes widened. What do you mean? I want the galaxy to see who you are, Thera said. I want my people to know that power begins with mercy. I want you beside me not just as a friend, but as a symbol. Minna was speechless. I will not force you, Thera added. But if you say yes, your name will be remembered for 1,000 generations. That night, Minna sat in her guest quarters aboard the ship. The stars outside the window looked different somehow, brighter, bigger. She held her old sketchbook again, turning to the page with the ramen bowl and the little cub beside it. So much had changed. Yet something remained the same. She whispered. Maybe I was never meant to stay small. A soft chime rang. Thera's voice came through. We arrive in Veylunen for days. Rest well. Minna looked out the window and whispered, I'm ready. Minna stood near the wide window of her guest room as the stars moved slowly outside. The ship glided through space like a silent bird. Ahead, a blue and white world began to appear. It looked like a glowing pearl in the darkness. That's Veylunen, Thera said as she entered the room. My home. And now, yours too. If you wish. Minna stared in silence. The planet was beautiful, wrapped in clouds and rings of shining dust. She had flown between many worlds, but none looked like this. Thera stepped beside her. Soon, you will see my people. They know I was saved long ago by someone kind. But they do not know it was you. Not yet, Minna turned. Why haven't you told them? Thera looked calm, but her voice was careful, because not all will. Understand, some believe power should never kneel. They don't understand what it means to be saved by a human. They fear change. Minna gave a small nod. So you've waited all these years. Thera smiled. I waited for the right time. And now, that time has come. As the ship entered the atmosphere, Minna saw floating cities in the sky. Towers made of silver and blue glass rose from clouds. Ships flew in perfect lines. Bridges hung between air and light. The world below was full of life-strange plants. Glowing rivers and flying creatures with long wings. Minna pressed her hand to the glass. It's like a dream. Thera watched her closely. It is real, and you're a part of it now. The ship landed on a large platform high above the city. A long path of silver stone stretched toward a grand hall. Alien guards with shining armor lined the sides, standing tall and silent. At the end stood a group of noble-looking aliens, dressed in colorful robes and armor. Their eyes were sharp, their faces calm. Minna felt small. Thera stepped forward. Come, walk beside me. They walked side by side down the path. The nobles whispered among themselves, watching Minna with curious eyes. Some looked thoughtful. Others seemed cold. One older noble with a crown of silver wires stepped forward. Empress Thera, he said, bowing slightly. You return with Begest? Thera's voice was strong. Yes. Her name is Minna. She is the reason I live today. Another noble frowned. A human from Earth? Thera's eyes did not blink. Yes. Minna stayed quiet, unsure what to say. The nobles stepped aside, but some of them did not hide their doubt. Inside the palace, the walls glowed with soft blue light. Symbols moved across the air like dancing letters. Servants offered Minna a robe made of soft fabric. She followed Thera into a round room with a high ceiling. At the center was a glowing table. This is my council chamber, Thera explained. Where laws are made and futures are shaped. Minna looked around nervously. What do you want me to do here? Thera looked into her eyes. Be yourself. Later that day, Thera led Minna through a quiet garden with floating lights and tall trees that whispered. When touched by wind, they sat on a stone bench. Your people are proud, Minna said softly. I don't think they like me. They don't know you yet, Thera replied. They only see a human. But soon, they will see the truth. Minna looked down. But why does it matter so much? I helped you once. That was long ago. Thera placed her hand gently on Minna's shoulder. It was one moment, one bowl of warm noodles. But it changed everything. In my people's law, saving. A royal life binds you to the crown. You are not a stranger here, Minna. You are part of my story. And now, the galaxy will know it. That night, a special ceremony was held in the Star Hall, a place where only the highest leaders were allowed. Together, 1,000 lights floated above the crowd. The floor was shaped like a star, and the walls were made of living crystal. Minna stood beside Thera, dressed in a simple but beautiful robe. The nobles entered one by one. Some bowed. Others simply nodded. Then Thera stepped forward. My people, she said, her voice echoing. You know the story of the one who saved me as a child, the one who showed me the power of mercy. Today, I present her to you. She turned toward Minna. This is Minna. She once lived on a small world. She had no power, no army, no crown. But when I was lost and wounded, she gave me shelter. She fed me. She gave me kindness. The hall was silent. Thera continued, because of her, I survived. Because of her, I built this empire on something stronger than fear. I built it on respect. One noble stepped forward. It was the elder who had spoken earlier. Empress, it is a powerful tale, but humans are not part of our world. They do not know our ways. Minna took a deep breath and stepped forward. Her voice was soft, but clear. I don't know your ways, she said. I don't know your stars or your cities, but I know what it means to care, to help someone when they are hurt. I didn't feed that cub because I wanted something. I did it because it was right. She looked around the room. You don't have to trust me, but Thera does, and if she believes I can help, then I will try. The hall stayed quiet. Then, slowly, one of the younger nobles clapped his hands once. Another followed. Then another. Soon, the hall was filled with the sound of slow, respectful applause. Thera looked at Minna with proud eyes. Well said. After the ceremony, Minna stood on a balcony, watching the sky. Thera joined her. You spoke well. Minna sighed. I wasn't sure they'd listen. They listen, Thera said, and they will remember. Minna smiled slightly. I'm not a queen, Thera. No, Thera replied. You are something better. You are a reminder that one kind action can change the stars. The grand halls of the Valoon Palace echoed with quiet footsteps and whispers. Minna followed Thera through endless corridors of shining stone and glowing light everywhere she looked. Alien symbols moved softly in the air like living stories. It was beautiful, but Minna felt nervous. This was not like any place she had ever known. Why are we here? Minna asked softly. Thera smiled. You must meet my council and prove yourself worthy. The nobles must see that you are more than just a human. They will test your heart, your mind, and your courage. Minna stopped walking. Test me? I'm no warrior or scholar. Thera looked at her calmly. The trials are not for strength alone. They are for truth, for kindness, for wisdom. You have already passed one test saving me when I was weak. Now, you must face the others. In the great chamber of the council, dozens of nobles sat around a wide table. They were tall, with eyes sharp as stars and skin that shimmered like metal. Their voices were low but powerful. The head of the council, an old alien with silver hair and many lines on his face, spoke first. Empress Thera has brought us a human from Earth. This human claims to have saved her life. We must see if she is worthy of honor in our empire. One noble rose. I propose trials. There was murmuring. The old leader nodded. Very well. The trials begin tomorrow. That night, Minna lay awake in her room. The stars outside the window were bright and cold. She wondered what the trials would be. The next day, a guard came for her. Come, he said quietly. Minna was led to a courtyard, filled with alien children. Their faces were curious and bright. Suddenly, the guards called out that a nearby area was dangerous. Gravity was failing in one part of the palace grounds, trapping the children. Minna felt her heart beat fast. They need help. She whispered. Without hesitation, Minna stepped forward. The gravity well was a strange, swirling force that made the ground feel like water and the air heavy like lead. Children were floating, scared, and unable to move safely. Using only a simple old tool she had brought from Earth, a small drone, Minna flew it into the gravity well. The drone's lights flashed as it scanned the area. Using a small remote, Minna controlled the drone to guide the children back towards safe ground. Her hands shook, but her mind stayed calm. One by one, the children floated to safety, reaching solid ground. The nobles watched silently. When the last child was safe, Minna looked up and met their eyes. Later, in a chamber of truth, Minna faced a council of mind readers. They will know. If you lie, Thera said softly. The nobles asked Minna questions about her life, her feelings, and her past. Minna spoke honestly. She told them about the forest, the cub, and the ramen noodles. She told them about her simple life and her dreams. The nobles' faces showed surprise, not anger, but respect. One elder spoke. Truth is a rare gift among many. You hold it well. The last trial was of courage. Minna was taken to a dark hall, filled with shifting shadows and strange noises. A figure appeared. It was a hologram of a great beast, powerful and frightening. You must face your fears. A voice said. Minna stood firm, remembering the cub who once lay injured and scared. She knew fear, but she also knew kindness. Instead of running or fighting, Minna spoke softly to the hologram. I don't want to hurt you. I want to understand. The shadows shifted and changed. The beast bowed its head, and the lights brightened. The nobles watching nodded in approval. After the trials, Minna was called before the council once more. The head elder spoke. You have shown us strength, truth, and courage not with weapons, but with heart. You are worthy." The room filled with quiet applause. Thera stepped forward and took Mina's hand. "You have passed the trials of fire, Starheart." Mina smiled shyly. "Starheart, yes," Thera said, "because your kindness shines like a star in the dark." News of Mina's trials spread quickly through the Empire. Many aliens came to see the human who had changed their Empress's life. Some were still doubtful, but others were curious. Children whispered her name. Merchants offered gifts. Artists painted her portrait. Mina felt something new, a place to belong, not just in space, but in hearts. That night, Thera and Mina stood on a balcony overlooking the glowing city. "The trials were harder than I expected," Mina admitted. Thera laughed softly. "You surprised me too. You are stronger than you know." Mina looked at the stars, feeling both small and important. "Do you think the galaxy is ready?" she asked. Thera took her hand. "With you by my side, I believe it is." The peace that had filled Veloon was shattered one quiet morning. An urgent message flashed across every screen in the palace. An enemy fleet had appeared at the edge of the Empire. The rival empire, known as the Zarkan Dominion, had declared war. Their massive ships moved like dark shadows, ready to strike. The nobles gathered in the war room, voices loud and tense. Thera stood calm but serious. Mina watched quietly, feeling a mix of fear and determination. "We must defend Veloon," Thera said. "But this war is not just about weapons. It is about our strength to protect what we believe." Some nobles whispered, "A human must be kept safe. She is not built for war." But Mina refused to be hidden away. "I will not run," she said firmly. "If I cannot fight, I will help in other ways." Thera smiled with pride. "Your courage honors me." The fleet moved closer to the capital world. Mina was brought to the command center, a room filled with holographic maps and blinking lights. She studied the enemy ships. They were larger and more numerous, but slow to change course. Mina spoke up. "I know Earth cargo drones, small, fast, and hard to track. If we use them as decoys, we can confuse the enemy and make them waste their fire." The commanders looked surprised. One elder asked, "Do you understand their technology?" Mina nodded. "I grew up around Earth machines. I can help adapt them for this." Thera turned to the commanders. "Trust her." For days, the shipyards worked nonstop, converting old cargo drones into nimble fighters. Mina trained with the pilots, learning alien tactics and sharing her own ideas. When the battle began, the sky above Veloon filled with flashes of light and roaring engines. Mina's plan was simple but risky. Small squads of drones darted out first, weaving through enemy fire. The Zarkan fleet fired heavy weapons at them, wasting energy on what seemed like harmless cargo ships. Behind the drones, Veloon's main fleet moved and Mina controlled the squad herself, guiding the drones through narrow paths between enemy ships. One drone was hit, spinning out of control. Mina felt a sharp sting in her chest, a mix of fear and responsibility. But she kept calm and redirected the others. Her heart raced as the battle grew fierce. She saw Thera's flagship in the distance, shining bright despite the smoke and fire. Suddenly, a large Zarkan cruiser broke through the defenses and headed straight for the capital. Thera's ship moved to intercept, but the enemy fired powerful weapons. Mina knew she had to act. Using a small drone, she flew close to the cruiser's engines. She sent a signal to overload its systems. The cruiser slowed, then stopped. The Zarkan fleet faltered. The Veloon ships pressed their attack and pushed the enemy back. After hours of battle, the skies cleared. Veloon had won. But the cost was high. Ships were lost, crews were hurt, and Thera herself had taken a hit. Her flagship had a large scar on its side. Back on the ship, Thera lay in the healing chamber, resting. Mina sat beside her, holding her hand. "You saved us all." Thera whispered. "No," Mina said softly. "We saved each other." Thera smiled weakly. "You are my strength, Mina. I owe you more than I can say." News of the battle spread quickly. Mina was no longer just the human who saved the cub. She was a hero of the Veloon Empire. The nobles who once doubted her now spoke her name with respect. Minna, who had once been a simple pilot, now stood as a symbol of hope and courage. One quiet evening, Minna and Thera stood on the balcony overlooking the stars. "We survived," Minna said. "Yes," Thera replied. "And now, the galaxy knows that kindness and courage can win wars." Minna looked at the distant lights. "I never imagined my life would be like this," she said. Thera took her hand. "You changed my life. You changed the Empire. You changed the stars." Minna smiled, feeling both small and strong at the same time. "Thank you," she whispered. The war was over, but the galaxy was not the same. Minna stood beside Empress Thera on the balcony of the High Palace. Below them stretched the shining cities of Velun, alive with light and movement. The sky was clear, filled with stars, each one a promise of new hope. For Minna, it was a moment she never expected. The simple girl who had once fed an injured Cub Ramen in a quiet forest was now standing at the side of a galactic ruler, a symbol of kindness, courage, and change. Thera looked at her with a smile. "You have done more than save me. You saved this empire and gave it a heart." Minna nodded. "I only did what any friend would do." Thera's eyes grew serious. "It is true. But now, our work begins." The war had left many scars. Some worlds in the Empire suffered damage, and some people were scared. The Zarkan Dominion was defeated for now, but tensions remain. Peace would not come easily. Thera called a great council of leaders from many worlds. Minna was invited as an honored guest and advisor. Her voice, soft but strong, was heard among the great minds of the galaxy. "We must build bridges," Minna said, "not walls. If we want lasting peace, we must listen, understand, and help each other." Some leaders nodded, others were unsure. But Minna's words carried a power that could not be ignored. Back on Velun, Minna and Thera worked together to heal the Empire. They visited damaged cities and talked to people. Minna helped teach kindness and hope, sharing her story and encouraging others to act with care. One day, Minna stood before a group of young Velun children. They were curious and full of questions. "Why did you come here?" a small voice asked. Minna smiled. "Because a long time ago, someone believed in me. She showed me that even small acts of kindness can change the stars." The children looked up with wide eyes. "Now, it's our turn," Minna said. "To be kind, to be brave, and to build a better future." But peace was fragile. Old enemies watched from the shadows. The galaxy was full of dangers. One evening, as Minna and Thera walked through the palace gardens, an urgent message arrived. "New threats are gathering," a guard said. "We must prepare." Thera took Minna's hand. "We will face whatever comes together." Minna nodded, feeling the weight of the promise she made years ago, the promise that had brought her here. As the days passed, Minna and Thera grew closer, not only as leader and advisor, but as friends who had shared a journey. From the smallest cabin in a forest to the halls of power among the stars, they stood together watching a distant sunrise from the palace balcony. Thera said quietly, "You saved me when I was weak. Now, you help me lead when I am strong." Minna smiled. "I never dreamed I could do this." Thera took her hand. "You were meant to. We all have power, sometimes it's just hidden." The galaxy was changing. The stories of kindness and courage spread across stars and worlds. Minna's simple act of feeding a wounded cub had blossomed into something greater, a reminder that even the smallest light can shine in the darkest places. And as the new dawn broke over Velun, Minna felt hope for the Empire, for the galaxy, and for all the lives yet to be touched by kindness. The end.